ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Southern Division. In the last two classes, we began this discussion. The first class, in one sense, was like an introduction and an entire overview of the entire Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, especially the Eastern Division. And yesterday's class, we began with the Southern Division, the Mangalacharan verse. And before we went into a little detail, we discussed the concept of rasa. How many bhavas combine together to give rise to rasa. The prominent bhava or the continuous ecstasy at the stage of rati or the bhava stage is the stahi bhava. And this stahi bhav, when it mixes with the samagri bhav, the ingredients, that is Vibhava, Anubhava, Satviki bhav and Sanchari bhav, gives rise to rasa. We saw the concept of rasa, the Vibhav, which has two divisions, Alamban and Udipan. And within the Alamban, there is a Vishay, object of love, and the subject of love, Ashray. And we saw Anubhava, what is subsequent in ecstasy, which are voluntary, and there is Satviki Bhavas, which are involuntary expressions, like the Ashta Satvik Vikar, and the transient emotions. So all this in brief, in the form of concept, we studied. So today, we will discuss now the same thing in the verses of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So now those who have attended these classes will follow the discussion, and those who have not attended it, I would request you to go through the series right from the beginning, that is day before class, and then keep updated and then only join the discussion. Please don't ask questions which are there from yesterday's discussion and today. Whatever we are going to discuss the verses today, only those questions we will take up. So let's come back after discussing the concept of rasa yesterday. We discussed this concept of rasa. We'll now come back to again to the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, our main topic. And again, we are going to discuss the components of rasa, vibhav, anubhav, satviki bhav, vyabhichari bhav, and stahi bhav. So let's go now to the verses. The first three verses we discussed. The fourth verse. Atasya keshavaratir lakshitaya nigaddate samagri pariposhena parama rasa rupata. The southern section describes how rati, bhava, for the Lord, stahi bhav. So rati is bhava. So I was mentioning only at the stage of rati, the stahi bhav manifest, and there is exchange of rasa with the soul and the supreme soul. Now, for your kind information, even in the practice of Raganuga Bhakti, there is exchange of rasa happening because there is, taste. Anarth Nivriti has happened, and there is cultivation of Raganuga Bhakti of those who have Ragatmika Bhakti towards the Lord. That is the eternal associates. They have that same bhav, and the Raganugas want to attain that bhav. They have lobha. They have intense spiritual greed. The impetus to practice bhakti is coming now from the greed. I want to attain that same mood, bhav of Sri Dhama Saka or the gopis or Mother Yashoda. So he is having taste, but the stahi bhav manifests at the stage of rati, which is bhava stage. So that's why in the eastern division, bhava bhakti is dealt. And that's why now the rasa discussion is coming in the southern division. So the southern section describes how rati bhav for the Lord, that is stahi bhavya, atasya keshavaratir, which has been described previously. Lakshita nigatyate. So where it has been described this previously, this has been described previously in the Eastern Division, third way, which is Bhav Bhakti. Takes on the form of the highest rasa, parama rasa rupata, through the nourishment of the ingredients of Vibhav, Anubhav, Sattvi Bhav, and Vyabhichari Bhav, Samagri Bhav. So I was yesterday also discussing how, for rasa, first there has to be the stahi bhav. That is the prominent bhav. And stahi bhav along with the samagri, that is vibhav, anubhav, satviki bhav, and vyabhichari bhav, combination of all this gives rise to rasa. So in one sense, the samagri are called as vibhav, anubhav, satviki bhav, and vyabhichari bhav. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now, there is no commentary to this, but Prabhupada in his Nectar of Devotion summary study mentions the word rasa used in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is understood by different persons differently because the exact English equivalent is very difficult to find. Rasa, is difficult. But as we have seen our spiritual master translate this word rasa into mellow, we shall follow in his footsteps and also translate the word in that way. Now, Prabhupada is paraphrasing this verse. This verse is paraphrasing now here. The particular loving mood or attitude, actually I put this in the brackets, Sahi Bhav, relished in exchange of love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called rasa or mellow. Is called rasa. The different types of bhavas, when combined together, help one to taste the mellow of devotional service in the highest degree of transcendental ecstasy. So this is how Prabhupada is translating this verse. And then he says, such a position, although entirely transcendental to our experience, will be explained in this section as far as possible, following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. So I was mentioning that at the stage of bhava, one is liberated. And only at this transcendental state, the liberated state of existence, one can experience this rasa. Now, again, I would like to make it clear that at the stage of Nishta, one is on the transcendental platform, on the spiritual, on a self-realized soul platform. Now, the cultivation of Raganuga Bhakti, but particular mood begins from there. And when attains that mood, because he attains Rati, he attains Stavi Bhav, now he is in, a different he's experiencing a life of spiritual emotions. Spiritual emotions begin from there. So it's a transcendental, it's completely, entirely transcendental to our experience. Prabhupada is making it very, very clear. Okay. Further, Prabhupada says, without relishing some sort of mellow or devotional mood in one's activities, no one can continue to perform such activities. So it's also important, as I was mentioning yesterday also, that even in the beginning stages, when we start doing some service to Krishna, we, relish a particular kind of flavor and taste within ourselves. We don't know what it is, but that is what, impulse us to go more in Krishna consciousness, more practice Krishna consciousness. So we are all performing some activities because we have some taste at the stage of Shraddha or prior to the stage of Shraddha. We have some taste, and that's why we are performing. Similarly, in the transcendental life of Krishna consciousness and devotional service, there must be some mellow or specific taste from the service. So in the transcendental life, again, it is bhava stage. There is some exchange of rasa happening with the devotee and Krishna, and he is relishing that. Okay, text 5, 215, components of rasa. Now, he gives the components. Vibhaveranubhavescha sattvikervevicharibihi swadyatvam hridhi bhaktanam anita shravanadibihi esha krishnarati stahi bhavo bhakti raso bhavet. The rati for Krishna, esha krishna rati, called the stahi bhava bhavet. Actually, bhavet also can be included here, takes on a pleasurable nature in the hearts of the devotees. Swadatvam Ridhi Bhaktanam. Devotees are relishing, those who are in this platform, Rasika Bhuvi Bhavaka. They are relishing a particular pleasure in the heart which is completely spiritual and transcendental, which we cannot fathom. How? By the Vibhavs, Anubhavs, Satviki Bhavs, and the Vibhichari Bhavs. Vibhav Anubhavesh cha Satvike Vibhichari. Through activities such as hearing, Anita Shavanadibi, and then becomes Bhakti Ras. Bhakti Raso Bhaved becomes Bhakti Ras. Okay, let's see now Jiva Goswami's commentary. Rati for Krishna, the Sahibhav becomes Bhakti Ras. As I was mentioning, the Bhakti Ras, only when there is Sahibhav, when it combines with the Samagri Bhav, it gives rise to Bhakti Ras. And that is what is in the southern division. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is being described here. The Bhakti Rasa, Bhagavad Bhakti Ras has been discussed here. How does this happen? How does this Sahibhav become Bhakti Ras? The Stahibhav, taking on a relishable nature, on being nourished in an amazing manner through hearing and other actions, become the Bhakti Ras by the means of Anubhavas, Vibhavas, Sattvic Bhavas, and Vibhichari Bhavas. So the Stahibhav combining with all this, becomes, Rasa. And yesterday we have discussed this. Rati is an inclusive term indicating as well as Prema, Pranaya, and other stages up to Mahabhav. So Rati here, in a specific sense, can refer, Bhava stage. So Rati can refer to Prema, and within Prema there are higher stages like, Mana, Pranaya, Raga, Anuraga, Bhava, Mahabhava. So it's an inclusive term. It can mean anything based on the context. So it is an inclusive term. It can indicate Prema, Pranaya, all this. This is because of Rati's extraordinary form. It has extraordinary form. Okay, Prabhupada Without relishing some sort of mellow or loving mood in one's activities, no one can continue to perform such activities. Similarly, in the life of transcendental life of Krishna consciousness and devotional service, there must be some mellow, some specific taste from the service. I've included Prabhupada because exactly you cannot in the summary study point out which verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Prabhupada is quoting. So I've included the discussion. Generally, this mellow is experienced by chanting, hearing, worshipping in the temple, and being engaged in the service of the Lord. So when a person feels transcendental bliss, that is called relish in the mellow. To be more clear, we may understand that the various feelings of happiness derived from discharging devotional service may be termed as mellows of devotional service. Prabhupada doesn't mention, I think, that combination of all the vibhavas, anubhavas gives rise. Okay, further. Now, as I'm discussing these verses, if you have any questions, you can you're free to raise your hands. Otherwise, I'll continue the discussion and at the end, stop for question answers. But when the verses are discussed, if you have any questions, we are happy to take it up. Yes, Dr. Archana Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam. Can we have a look slide before this slide, previous slide?
This one or previous
Yeah,
one?
yeah, this one, this one. So here it's been mentioned that generally this mellow is experienced by chanting, hearing, worshipping in the temple, and being engaged in the service of the Lord. So here we are specifically mentioning temple itself or the temple which we make in our homes also.
This is referring in a generic sense. It can refer to temple at home, temple at heart, and our temple where we take the training of how to do all these practices, devotional
Okay,
practices.
okay, sir.
But Prabhupada is very magnanimous here, as I was mentioning that the rasa relishing at the highest platform only happens when there is tahi bhav along with the samigri bhav. But even in the beginning also generally we experience some rasa, but it's not that highest rasa because our swarupa is not revealed. At the stage of bhava, our swarupa is revealed and the Sandhini and the Ladini, Samvit and the Ladini potency enter the heart and Krishna's Swarup is also revealed and there is exchange happening of rasa. But Prabhupada is giving that we also experience some happiness in engagement of services of hearing, chanting and all. So even in the beginning stages, we relish it, but in a real sense, only when the Stahi Bhav combines with the Samagri Bhavs, then there is exchange of rasa between the devotee and Krishna. I hope that makes it clear.
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, Priya Mataji. Only with respect to the verses we are discussing, I will be taking questions because we need to cover a lot of portion and I'll be still going slow, but still you have to be specific with the discussion verses which we are discussing. Any questions?
Yes, Prabhuji. In a sense, I want to share my experience regarding the temple, what was discussed now. Yesterday, I had gone for a 1 hour
No,
continuous
no, we'll
teaching.
have to take questions. Otherwise,
Okay, then next time, sir.
yeah, because time is also an essence. So, okay. So let's go now to the next verse. Okay, now how this rasa, how it really manifests. प्राकृत्यान्याधुनिकी चास्ति यस्य सद्भक्ति वासना एष भक्ति रसास्वादस तस्यैव हृदि जायते. The taste of bhakti ras, esha bhakti rasaswada, arises in the heart of a person. Tasyeva hridhi jayate, who has had experiences of pure bhakti. Yasya sad bhakti vasana, in previous and present life. Prakritya adhunikai chasti. Now, the vasanas are there in the subtle body, the unlimited impressions. And part of it is our nature to do certain kind of activity, Brahmanical, Kshatriya, or whatever it is. And now we are dovetailing in Krishna consciousness. And there are vasanas which are detrimental to our spiritual practice, so that we completely avoid. And there is a purification of the subtle body happening. And all the hearing, chanting, what we are doing, the spiritual impressions on the soul are being imprinted. And when the complete material vasanas are eradicated, that is on the liberated platform at the bhava stage, then there are only spiritual impressions. Now, before I saw gulab jamun, then that gulab jamun stimulated the vasana because there was previous impression of eating the gulab jamun experience, and that pulled me. So these are material impressions. Now I see a peacock feather, and because of the unlimited, because of the bhakti vasanas, I'm attracted and I, fall in ecstasy. Just like Mukunda, who had come to see the king, and the king was being fanned. And seeing the peacock feather, he went into Uddipan. That was a spiritual stimulus for him. He went into an ecstasy and he rolled and fell down completely, you know. So these bhakti vasanas, that means at the stage of bhava, this taste of bhakti ras arises in the heart. And these bhakti vasanas can be from the previous life or in this life, present life. And both together also can combine. Even though there are impressions in this life for giving rise to rasa from the presence of rati in this life, it is necessary to seek out impressions from previous life as well to explain the occurrence of rasa. Bilvamangal Thakur is a classic example. In his previous life only he had attained bhava. Because of some offense in this life, he was a brahmana and he was attracted to a prostitute Chintamani. And by her preaching, a spiritual impetus arose for him to practice spiritual life. And very quickly, again, he attained that previous state of bhava and very quickly went to Vrindavan. So there is a necessary to explain the occurrence of rasa. This distinction between past life experiences of rati and present life experience of rati applies to those persons subject to disappearance and not the nitya siddhas. Now the point is that nitya siddhas are not having any subtle body, although they might come in this world, but there are no impressions because they are eternally relishing that rasa. So the disappearance of that bhakti ras has happened because of the destruction of the body. And further, in the next life, they continue to experience that like that. So there are examples in the Shastra also about it. I'll not go into detail, but just I'll explain. Jad Bharat, uh, in his previous life was a deer, and previous to that, he had attained bhava, and he was experiencing these emotions of bhava. And further, you can see in the dear life, he remembered Narayan. Then he should have gone back to the spiritual world. Why did not go? The reason is that that specific relationship, that higher development further was required, and that's why he was given another chance in the form of Jad Bharat, where he could completely uh, 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 manifest that spiritual relationship and exchange that rasa. So that's why there was a disappearance because of the destruction of the body, but it made again appearance and he continued. But this is not applicable for Nitya Siddhas. This is the rule for most cases discussed in the book. So in this book, for most cases, this will apply. And most cases in the Bhagavatam also it will apply, except the Nitya Siddhas. The import is that rati has to be intense for bhakti rasa to appear. Intense. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitamati kriyataam kuto labhyate tatra laulyam ekamulanam janma kotir sukritir na labhyate. Krishna bhakti ras kriyatam kuto labhyate. When I can get that? What you need? Intense greed. So that intense greed to attain that bhava of the eternal associates, is what the Raganuga Sadhak aspires. And he, impelled by that lobha, he practices Ragana Sadha, and with that intensity of bhakti increasing, at the stage of bhava, he attains the bhakti ras. Vishwanath Chakra Thakur. Though there are recent impressions for giving rise to rati, past life impressions also are needed to give a taste for rati. Though in this life itself, rati appears in persons who have surrendered to Guru, performed bhakti, and destroyed all offenses, the taste for rati arises from experiences and actions in previous lives. That's what, again, it is the same point. Prabhupada, this relishing of transcendental mellow and discharging devotional service cannot be experienced by all classes of men, because this sweet loving mood is developed only from one's previous life's activities or by association of unannoyed devotees. So this point even further in a verse Rupa Goswami will make. As explained above, association with pure devotees is the beginning of faith in devotional service. Only by developing such faith in the association of pure devotee, or by having in one's previous life executed devotional activities, can one actually relish the mellow of devotional service. So Prabhupada again is very liberal in his explanation. So one should start with faith and start associating with devotees. In other words, this transcendental bliss is not to be enjoyed by any common man unless he is so extraordinarily fortunate as to be in association with devotees or to be continuing in previous births devotional activities. Now, the point also, what Prabhupada is making is very, very interesting. When we come in touch with a Mahabhagavat or a Nitya Siddha, like Srila Prabhupada, those who came in touch, you should see those videos, Prabhupada arriving in the airport or arriving in the temple. The devotees would go into a swoon of ecstasy just having the darshan of Prabhupada, because that pure prema was exuding from his body and they were able to experience that. So that is not the ecstasy what the devotees are experiencing. It's not bhava, but just a dim reflection which is emanating from a Mahabhagavat. And that, gives them faith, and then they execute devotional service in the association of pure devotees. But when they come to the stage of bhava, then they can fully experience the taste. Okay. Yes. Okay. One question. I will take only this one question. Anyone else has questions? Raise your hands now only. Up till now, what we have discussed. Only one question. Okay, Maya Narsimha Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Prabhuji, as per the discussion goes on, if the devotee has already experienced this mellow in the previous life, that means technically he has attained bhava stage in the previous life.
Yes.
So it means that even other than Bharat Maharaj, there could be many other examples those who have attained bhava, but still they are continuing their life journey.
Yes.
So is it that indicating, or is it indicating that they have some glimpse of this mellow, so therefore they are again continuing in the next life?
Come again. What did he say?
It means, I mean to say that, are they on the stage of bhava in the previous life itself, or they have just some glimpses of this sthai bhava? How is it?
No, you have to understand that Bharat Maharaj had attained the stage of bhava. There is development also happening. There is development happening, and it's not just like one stage. You see that first step and then second step, and you're in bhava. No, there is a gradual development happening. Although you might be at the stage of bhava, there is a gradual state development happening where the stahi bhav is being slowly, gradually revealed. And in fact, even in Ragana sadhana, the vibhava, anubhavas, and satviki bhavas, you might be faintly experiencing. But at the stage of bhava, this becomes to a higher degree. And further, at further matured stages of bhava, the intensity increases, and the levels of intensities are also discussed quite in detail in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in the Charitamrita and all. So there is a gradual development happening. And within that development, suppose we know that even at the stage of bhava, there can be some offenses, especially Vaishnava Prad. And that's why full experience, there is some still klesha in form of apradhs. So that have to get eradicated by the bhajan. And that's why the full intensity cannot be experienced. So there is a gradual development within that bhava stage also. It's not just the mere ratyabhas, which the devotees might experience in the association of very advanced Mahabhagavats. It's not ratyabhas. I hope it is clear.
Yes, bro. It is really the bhava stage. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
Hare Krishna.
And we have to see the lakshanas. And these lakshanas also, one after other, they gradually manifest. There's a gradual, unfolding happening. Okay. Still, anyone has any other questions? Okay, so let's go now to the next verse. Tirthpad Prabhuji. Yes, Tirthpad Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Here it is told that coming with the association of the devotee is a fortune. So I want to know basically coming into the association of Mahabhagavatams, is it a luck is playing a part in this?
Not exactly luck. You cannot say that Parikshit Maharaj was fasting on the bank of Ganges, and by luck, Sukadeva Goswami, Yadrichaya. So ultimately, Krishna is there in the heart of everyone as super soul, and he knows what level of development that particular sadhaka is, and accordingly he arrange, in the association of that Mahabhagavat, he will come. Yadrichaya means on his own accord, or by Krishna's desire, he might move. So um, we don't know what would have been our fortune if we had just one glance and darshan of Prabhupada. We don't know that. I just met one Prabhupada disciple, and he just mentioned the first time I ever saw Prabhupada here. I met him in Mayapur, Prabhupada disciple, and I said I saw him here. He was showing me that place. And when I saw him, I felt like it was like million suns straight emanating. And I saw him as a great old sage with deep wisdom, at the same time, simultaneously, a simple child, innocent 5-year-old child. So that was the impression what he had. And this impression, after 40 years also, he's carrying it. So you can imagine what kind of impact it would have had on the consciousness. So this kind of association is very rare, and if we are qualified, we'll get it also. Does that make sense, Tirthpad Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. I don't want questions to be asked based on the answers what I give, because we have to go with the flow. So that's why I'm asking devotees that they should raise their hands before only once we finish particular discussion. Do they have any doubts? Yes, Sudhanshu Prabhu, I'll take this question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Prabhu, like this vasanas, bhakti vasanas or bhakti impressions, does it affect our soul or mind? Does it affect soul or mind?
The bhakti vasanas are the spiritual impressions. These are eternal spiritual impressions that are to do with the soul. And the soul's emotions start springing up from the soul, and they affect the mind and the body. That's why the hair standing on end happen. But these same emotions can come from the bodily platform. When you're very fearful, then the mind is affected, body is affected, but it has nothing to, the soul is also fearful there. And these are not ashtasattvic vikars, like Vepatushe Sharire me Roma Harshasya Jayate. Arjuna is experiencing that out of bodily concept. So both the material emotions and the spiritual emotions, the material emotions spring from the bodily concept, and the mind is what, through the mind it is experienced in the body, but the spiritual emotions spring from the soul and manifest on the mind and the body. In that sense, the mind is a pivot for both, but there is a lot of difference. One is from the transcendental platform, another is from the material platform. I hope it is clear.
But Ratyavas is related to mind only, na, bro? Like Rati is okay with
Now,
related to
you
soul.
have to, have you studied the Eastern division?
Yes, bro.
Bhava Bhakti, have you studied?
Yes, bro. Then it is related. How is related to the, of course, with the soul. But point is that Abhas, because at that point, like you today described.
Rathyabhas is not actually Rati, just Abhas because of
Yeah.
coming in contact with the Mahabhagavat.
Yes, bro.
So again, it is not from the mind. It is, the vasanas, the bhakti impressions are there, and we experience a little bit from the spiritual transcendental platform, although we are not on the transcendental platform. Is it okay? Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes, bro. Yes, bro.
Your once I'll have to change the connection. Yes. Further, Bhakti Nirduta Doshanam Prasannojjwala Chetasam Shri Bhagavata Raktanam Rasika Sangha Ranginam Jeevani Bhuta Govinda Pada Bhakti Sukashriyam Premantaranga Bhutani Krityan Evanutishtatam Bhaktanam Hridhi Rajanti Samskara Yogalojjala Ratir Ananda Rupeva Niyamana Tu Rasyatam Krishnadibhir Vibhavader Ghatir Anubhavadvani Praudananda Chamatkar Kashtam Apadyate Param. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4 verses together. This is a translation. How does manifestation of Rati happen? Rati, which is a very form of Anand, Rati Anand Rupeva, appears in the heart of devotees who have been purified of all faults by Bhakti. Bhakti Nirdosha Doshanam. So all the doshas are gone. Nashta Prayashu Abhadrashus happened also, and the other doshas are almost authentically gone at the stage of Bhava, whose hearts have become joyful, Ladini, bright, samvit. So I mentioned at the stage of Bhava, at the end of Asakti and beginning stages of Bhava, the Ladini and the Samvit potency from the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan, from the heart of Krishna, descend into the heart. And then he is joyful. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata. That is bhava. Prasanna ujjwala chetasam, who have developed great relish for Bhagavatam. So for such people, they have lot of rasa for Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavata Raktanam. And for the association of others who have taste for Krishna. Rasika Sangha Ranginam. They always take pleasure in associating with Rasikas, whose life and soul becomes the profound happiness of devotion at the feet of Govinda. Jivani Bhuta Govinda Pada Bhakti Sukashriyam. And who have become absorbed in actions such as Kirtan imbued with the Lord's mercy. Prema Antaranga Bhutani Kirtanya Evanutishtitam. This Rati is strengthened by past and present life impressions of the Bhakti. Bhaktanam Riddhi Rajanti Samskara Yugalujjala. Then attains a state of relish. Niyamana to Rasyatam. By relishing Vibhav, Anubhav, Satviki Bhav, and Vabhichari Bhav in relation to Krishna. Krishna Adi Bir Vibhavader Gater Anubhava Dhvani. and finally attains the highest. Kashtam apadyate param. Kashtam means pinnacle. Astonishing peak of profound bliss. Praudananda chamatkar. Because in Prema Bhakti, Sandrananda Visheshatma. This is the one of the characteristics of Prema Bhakti. Then it attains this. Okay, Jiva Goswami. 4 verses explain the role of sadhana, the assisting factors, and the way in which the rasa appears. The discussion of sadhana ends with the 8th verse. The assisting factors are the two past and present life impressions of bhakti. So this is bhakti vasanas. Please remember that. Mentioned after that, samskara yugalujjala. The way in which rasa develops is explained starting from the second half of the verse 9. Niyamana tu rasyatam. After being purified of all faults, a person becomes eligible for appearance of Shuddha Sattva Vishesh. So Bhava Bhakti definition is Shuddha Sattva Vishesh Atma Prema Suryansha Samya Bhak. If you have studied the Eastern Division, we have to study it very carefully also. So after purified from all faults, this manifest very clearly. It is being said by Jiva Goswami, and the verse itself is saying Bhakti Nirdutak Doshanam, it is mentioned, indicated by word Prasanna. Evam Prasanna Manaso. That is also the stage of Bhava in Bhagavatam 1 to 19, I think. By that, he becomes equipped with all knowledge. Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana, that verse also says, indicated by the word Ujjvala. So Prasanna is Bhava stage, Suddha Sattva Visheshatma, the Ladini Shakti, and Ujjvala is all knowledge. Gatir Anubhava Dwani, within the path of spiritual realization, means that the ingredients of rasa such as Vibhava are dependent only on spiritual realization, not on being an expert poet, as in the case with material rasa. So this completely is based on spiritual realization. When when we have that stahi bhav, the rasas, the ingredients of rasas combine and give rise to this spiritual realization. If you're an expert kavi, you can never access this. It can never understand the spiritual rasas. That's the point. Vishwanath Chakra Thakur. Premantarange literally means whose essence is prema. Premantaranga bhutani krityani means activities such as hearing or chanting prescribed previously, which have produced bhava, the extreme mercy of the Lord. So he performs kirtan because, absorbed in ecstasy. We perform sadhana because we have to, follow the rules and regulations. We have taken a vow. But because of the intense emotions he's experiencing, he hears these. Rati appears in the heart of devotees who have performed actions such as kirtan previously described, endowed with the Lord's direct mercy. And this rati is made intense by impressions from past life and this life. Samskara yugalujjala. This rati brings about a relish by Vibhava and other elements directed to Krishna and related objects. So the rati brings about relish by Vibhav. Vibhav in relation to Krishna and other objects, which is directly realized and then attains the highest level of astonishing bliss. Okay, Prabhupada gives very practical explanation for us. The gradual process, he says, of development of the stage of devotional service is explained in the Bhagavatam, first canto. The beginning is to hear about Lord Krishna in the association of devotees who are themselves cleansed by their hearts by association. Hearing about the transcendental activities of the Lord will result in one's feeling transcendental bliss always. Now, which verse is Prabhupada hinting here? Can anyone think about it and tell me? Which verse is Prabhupada indicating here? Maya Narasimha Prabhuji.
Satam prasanga mama virya samvido. Should want to prove. Rati prasanga.
You can see here that it is mentioned, Prabhupada is saying first canto. You're quoting a verse from the third canto.
Shrunvatam swakata Krishna, is that?
Yes. Actually, if you see, Prabhupada summarizes 5 verses in this smart, in his translation here. Actually, Shushushu Shraddha Danasya, then Evam Prasanna Manaso. Feeling transcendental bliss always is Evam Prasanna Manaso. Bhagavad Tattva Yogita. Because only at the stage of Bhava. So that's why Prabhupada is saying gradual process. You know, it begins with hearing Shushushu Shraddha Danasya and Shunutam Sakata Krishna and Ridhantasva Bhadrani Nashta Prayasha Bhadreshu. And then it will lead to Bhava. So Prabhupada is paraphrasing all the 5 verses. Then it is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. Now please understand, neither Rup Goswami's verse nor Jeev Goswami and Vishnu Chakra are, explaining this. That they are directly explaining the commentary based on the Eastern Division understanding and the present verse. But Prabhupada, because it is a summary study, Prabhupada asked, what is a summary study? Summary study means any damn thing you want, you can express it. But of course, according to Shastra. So Prabhupada, he's utilizing that full freedom and he's giving the Bhagavatam quote here. That means start hearing Krishna Katha. And then he's getting a Gita quote. It is also explained in Bhagavad Gita that for one who has actually come to the spiritual platform, the first symptom will be that he is always joyful. Now, which verse is again Prabhupada quoting here? Raise your hands. Which verse is he quoting here? What about others? I want to see if others. Sudhanshu Prabhuji, yes. Wait, Sudhanshu Prabhu, just hold on. I want to see Gopi Geet Mataji. I want others also to participate. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Pranam. Is it Brahmabhut Prasannatma?
Excellent. You need not, you can just always direct answer and save those words so that we can save time. You can just directly
Okay,
answer
Prabhuji.
the problem. Every one of you. Huh? Okay, it's Brahmabhuta. Excellent. Na sochati na kamshati sama sarveshu buddheshu mad bhakti labate param. Brahmabhuta prasannatma. So Prabhupada is connecting that directly to bhakti. Although a jnani also experiences freedom from miseries of material existence, gross and subtle bodies. But Prabhupada is directly quoting this here for, again, from the bhakti context. Prabhupada further explains, this joyous life is attained by one's reaction to reading Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, or else from associating with persons who are very interested in spiritual life of Krishna consciousness, especially for those who have made the determination to achieve the favor of Govinda by being engaged in transcendental loving service at his lotus feet. So, by one's reaction to reading Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada is recommending Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. Read every day Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And all the misgivings, Anarth Nivritti will happen. And then you'll start relishing Gita and Bhagavat. You'll start relishing a particular kind of taste. And then associate with those who are Rasika Bhaktas. Also Prabhupada is recommending that. Being encouraged by such a feeling, one is constantly engaged in discharging the regulative principles of devotional service. Prabhupada is becoming very practical here. Do sadhana bhakti, especially Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, in such a way as to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Develops 2 principles of compelling force, which come under the heading of Vibhava. So, what are the 2 principles of compelling force? We have to understand Prabhupada's terminology. Prabhupada had a very heavy task of explaining this whole Sanskrit work in an English language. Only Sanskrit is a language which can, express every emotion what we can experience in the heart. So Prabhupada had a very difficult task, and Prabhupada is saying, 2 principles of compelling force which come under the heading of Vibhava. Who will answer this? 1 hand, 2 hands have been raised. Priya Mataji, yes.
Alambana and
Alambana and we lost your voice. Alambana and
Uddipana, the stimulus.
yes, excellent, very good. I think yesterday's class was clear for devotees. It's very nice. Thus, one enjoys transcendental bliss. So that's what our Prabhupada comments on this. Text 1. Kintu prema vibhavade swalpenitopya aniyasim vibhavandya avastam tu sadhya asvadayatam vrajet. However, kintu prema, even becoming slightly pleasurable by a slight mixture of vibhavade swalpar nitopi aniyasam, and the other ingredients, vibhav, anadya, avastam tu, quickly becomes fully tasteful. Sadhya asvadayatam rajet. So it becomes slightly, in prema, you need just a little, vibhav and the other ingredients, and very tasteful it becomes. I don't know what mundane example to be given for this. Okay, let us see. This verse describes the excellent nature of prema. The special quality of prema is that attaining a slight ability to experience various tastes. Anyasam, Vibhava, by mixing with Vibhavas and other elements, prema then quickly reaches a state of excellent taste, Asvadyatam. This implies attaining a higher state such as Pranaya and Sneha. So immediately, once the experience of Sthayi Bhav with Samagri starts happening, then you need a little, at the higher levels, this prema. Okay, I'm getting some example. For one who has unlimited material vasanas, a slight stimulus will, completely take him on a tour of Maya. And we see that. We all have that experience before coming to Krishna consciousness. And even while practicing, we see how, the consciousness is pulled towards Maya. And we fall trapped to Maya and we are stuck for hours together. Nowadays in your mobile, you just one pop-up, you just click, you had come to do a specific task. And when you click there and it takes you for a ride for 2-3 hours and you're doing something else instead of, the main purpose of hearing a lecture. So similarly at prema stage, the bhakti impressions are only springing from the soul. And one slight stimulus can, give so much rasa, so much higher rasa. That's the point being made here. Footnote, rati increasing in intensity becomes prema. So rati is a inclusive term. We had discussed that. Becoming more intense in the case of Dasiras, rati, prema, sneha, and raga manifest. In Dasiras, rati, prema, sneha, and raga manifest. And in Sakya Ras rati, pranaya, prema, sneha, and raga manifest. In Vasil Ras, rati, prema, sneha, the highest level of raga manifest. In the case of Madhur Ras, the order is rati, prema, sneha, mana, pranaya, raga, anurag, and mahabhav. So based on what Sthayi Bhav you have, the intensities of what you'll experience will be different. Somebody has a Sthayi Bhav of eating bhel puri, and the more red chili powder and the more masala, he's experiencing the anubhavs. Wow, he's enjoying it, and he's experiencing profuse sweat and all these intensities. And based on somebody likes sweet rice, and there are ingredients like camphor, elaichi, all these ingredients, and he's experiencing a higher rasa. So based on which bhav you are in, dasya bhav, sakya bhav, vatsalya bhav, or madhurya bhav, then there are these higher intensities we can experience. These are the superior forms of rati. If one attains prema alone, that prema then combines with vibhav and the other elements, and this takes place. The order of words should be aniyasam api, meaning even attaining a slight taste. Vishwanath Thakur. But prima, attaining a slight condition suitable for tasting, Vibhava Anadhya Avastha, by a slight combination with Vibhava and other elements, quickly attains a fully tastable state. Fully tastable state. This is not in our experience, so it's very difficult to understand. I'm just narrating the story of Narsi Mehta. He was completely a pure Anana Bhakta, pure devotee. And although he had family, children, but he was always absorbed in bhajan. And the daughter was to be married. They did not have any wealth. The mother, the wife told, when I got married, I got all the jewels and gold as a dowry. So take this, go to the merchant, keep it, and get the money for the marriage. And Narsi Mehta took that full bag and he was going. Suddenly he heard some Bhagavad Katha going on. And his consciousness just started moving there. And he went and sat there. After 4 days was a marriage. And he's in the Bhagavad Katha. And while taking prasad, he asked the neighbor, when is the next katha after this lunch going to start or dinner going to start? He said, 7 days are over. The Bhagavad Katha is over. What? 7 days is over? You were in a state of shock. Oh my goodness, what did I do? Now my wife is going to scold me. After 4 days the marriage was there and 7 days I spent here hearing Bhagavad Katha. So he started, lamenting. There was a kind of a repentance. And slowly now he was going back to his home. And the neighbor started, oh, what a wonderful marriage you performed. The prasad was so nice. He was wondering, I was there in the Bhagavad Katha. And then the wife was very happy. And, then he understood that the Lord had taken the form of Narsi Mehta and conducted the whole marriage because his devotee was absorbed in Katha. So even a slight combination, slight condition is, required, and quickly they can fully taste it. So this is what, I can state as an experience. Okay. Any questions up till now? Okay. Any other questions anyone has? Birendra Yadav Prabhuji, yes.
So, Prabhu, this slight condition, it indicates Vibhava only, no?
Yes, slight condition for the Vibhava to manifest. If this
For
slight, like
Vibhava to manifest
Narsi
or
Mehta just heard some katha, he just heard it, it went in his ears and just he moved there. Slight condition is required. Just for us, a slight stimulus is required. If you have a lot of material impressions of a particular kind of vasana, that will take you on a ride, material ride, and you are absorbed in it. So similarly, a slight stimulus of vibhava is required, and then fully relishably we can relish that. You just start speaking for a few minutes, and because you are a rasika and others are rasikas, and you go on speaking and hours have passed and you don't know, and you're relishing, it becomes so pleasurable that you're conspicuous about time. So that's what happens. That's not in our experience also. I hope it is clear.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yes, Vinita Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I just have a question. I may not be correct, but to understand, like we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra daily at home on our beats, and sometimes while Aarti we do it. But the impact
Pardon?
that
Sometimes.
we have Aartis at home and we chant the Hare Krishna Mantra during that time also. But the impact that we come to temple and we hear the Kirtan, that is more. So what
Yeah.
element?
Because still we need a lot of spiritual atmosphere in order to become free from the anarthas. That natural taste is not there. Otherwise, if you're alone in the jungle, also you can just do alone kirtan, jump, dance in front of the Lord, and experience ecstatic transformations. Because you're on that transcendental platform. But we are not at the transcendental platform, so there is very little taste in our environment because our environment has so many other things going on in that consciousness. So in the temple, there is a spiritual atmosphere, then it becomes more vibrant, and those impressions have a deeper impact for us. Yes?
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, any other questions anyone has? Okay, so let me see. Okay. Okay, I'll not start this section. The definition of Vibhava is there. That we will take in the next class. We'll start the new topic in the next class. Maya Narsimha Prabhuji. Yes.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, in the Bhava Bhakti, two classifications as given. One is Vaidhi, through Vaidhi Marga, and another is through Raganuga.
No. Please understand. You cannot bring up these questions here now.
No, my question is connected with the today's class.
Okay. Now, firstly, you have to understand the Vaidhi which gives rise to Bhava, that is Vaidhi Bhava, and that is in Vaikuntha. But in Vraj Bhakti, the ras which we are speaking, this particular topic, only by executing Raganuga sadhana, you can attain that Bhava. And that Bhava is being discussed here. Are you clear about it now?
So it means that it is not just Bhava Bhakti, it is Bhava Bhakti of the category of Raganuga Bhava.
Yes, arising from Raganuga.
So, and also we hear in the first that this Raganuga Bhakti comes by the mercy of the Ragatmika Bhaktas.
No, not by the mercy of Ragatmika Bhaktas. By practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti with the purification of the heart and regularly hearing Krishna Katha, the sadhaka, when he is, Nashta Prayasha Badrishi, is at the stage of Nishta, he is purified. He is almost, not almost, he is a self-realized soul. And he is, he has a natural inclination to follow a particular mood. And he starts, that also happens by hearing Krishna Katha only, that, he likes the Vatsalya pastimes more and he starts hearing more the Vatsalya pastimes. So that's he wants to develop Vatsalya Rati. So he practices that sadhana. Then he follows his role models who are Nanda and Yashoda. So that's completely to that individual, what mood. And again, it depends also of the association he has of the Rasika Bhaktas. And that can also, have a have a impact on his inclination. Is it clear?
Yeah, okay, Prabhu. Ante, Prabhu, so it means that these Rasika Bhaktas should be there, and also one can have only one kind of Raganuga Bhava. He cannot have Vatsalya, Sakya, Madhurya all the time.
No. That's not possible.
Okay, fine.
That's not possible. But also you have to understand that Dasya Bhav, after that is, sorry, Shanta, and after that is Dasya.
Dasya.
Within Dasya, there is Shanta also. And Sakya has Dasya and Shanta.
Yeah.
And Vatsalya has
Vatsalya.
Sakya, Dasya, and Shanta also. And Madhuri has all the four below. That means it, the gopis and Madhuras are also friends of Krishna. They have friendship with Krishna. And they also have affection in the form of, caring for Krishna, So all that is there. But Vatsalya, those who are in the Vatsalya Rati cannot have Madhurya. Cannot have Madhurya. And those in the Das also cannot have Madhurya.
Yeah, it means the Sthai Bhava is fixed, but other Samagri can be mixed up.
Yeah, see, based on the Sahi Bhav, the Vibhavs Anubhavas, Satvikas, all will change.
Yeah.
The ingredients will completely change. In sweets, today you're making halwa, so you'll take particular ingredients to make. Tomorrow you're making rasgulla, you cannot take those ingredients and make rasgulla. It's not possible,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So the ingredients, the vibhavs will change. For Vatsalya, the vibhav is Krishna in his childhood form.
Yeah.
But for Madhuri Ras, the vibhav will be Krishna in his Kaishore age.
Mm. Yes.
You got the point?
Yes, Prabhu, got it. Thank you
Okay,
so much. Prabhu.
fine. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Hare Krishna. There's one more question.